Hey guys, it's David, and today we're going to be talking about trench art, which is a type of folk art in relation to any military conflicts. And it can be made by soldiers, civilians, prisoners of war, and it's very crude typically, but there is some very nicely engraved pieces. But for engraving tools, they typically would use nails or improvised bed springs or just anything they could get their hands on. So there's some typical materials that you'll see, usually spent bullet casings or just typical items with military insignia over them. So in this video, we're going to talk about what to look for, the different types of trench art, and just general advice when you start out collecting it. So this right here is a book on Army and Navy Marine Corps insignia, and I bought this book to help me know what's out there. So if I find a piece of trench art, I kind of have an idea what division it's from and all that good information, and what branch, of course. But I would advise getting information for not just U.S. Military, but German, French, because there was a lot of Army bringbacks, which is like stuff that people took during the war when they were, abroad. So in this little pocketbook here, we'll see just like the infantry. Where's it at? There we go. See, infantry insignia, and on this little makeup compact, you'll see someone put the infantry insignia on it and put some rhinestones. And I bought this for a few dollars at the flea market. You can go to flea markets, garage sales, estate sales, just anywhere, online, eBay, and find this type of stuff. And it's not that expensive. You can find a nice piece of trench art for around $40 if it's like a military like shell casing made into like a flower vase, for example. But there's many different types, some more expensive than others, of course. But this makeup compact, really rough shape, but still pretty cool because of the insignia and also because it's crudely engraved. To Natalie, with love, from Neil, Camp Wheeler, Georgia, 12/25, 1942. So on engravings, you always want to look for dates and any information in regards to where it's coming from. If it's around times of military conflict like the Great Wars or any like civil wars. So let me set that on the side here. And so some of the materials that they would have is kind of just out of workshops or within the trenches themselves. So they would use their military equipment, such as say a mess tin, and they would carve out the aluminum to make rings, or they would just engrave the aluminum to say where they've been and who's in their division. See, this piece right here is a spent bullet casing, and it has all the names of this division and all the different places they went to, and it's engraved 1944. It's really rough, it's hard to read, but when you get a piece of trench art, I always advise writing it down on a piece of paper so that it's easy to tell where it's from and what you have. So the bullet casings, there are so many different things they can make out of them. They can make little mini tanks. They can make like officer caps out of them. They're really creative with it. And this right here just looks like a 50 cal bullet, right? But if you open it up, it's a lighter. And this is a common thing. There's a lot of lighters. Ones with coins on it. Kind of just everything and anything you can imagine. So another thing that I like is trench art knives. This one right here is made out of Bakelite with the shell casings, and this is carbon steel. Carbon steel is different from stainless steel because it sharpens much quicker and it gets a finer edge, but it also dulls very quickly. So it's a little bit softer of a metal. And this hilt right here is a little curved. It's a little loose, but it's still very neat. This piece I got off of eBay for like 25, 30 bucks because I just thought it was really interesting looking to me. But you'll see it where it's wooden handles, have the soldier's name engraved on it. Another thing to look out for is lucite, which is a type of clear plastic. And so for different plastics, you can have like a way of telling them apart by like putting a flame up to them. They'll release a different type of smell. But I'll show you an example of a lucite handle in a little bit. And then right here is another lighter. This is from a 50 cal bullet tips here. See, just like that. But yeah, that's just in general advice. Look out for insignia, and look, if you like sweetheart type stuff, you know, try to go and look at the more feminine stuff, because they'll have it on there, because they were gifts. Like this pin right here is crudely engraved some initials in 1944. I'm pretty sure it's gold filled, so it's like a thicker gold plating, but it's kind of hard to see there. Yeah, it's just a little like two hearts with an arrow through them to show their love. All right, we got a fresh new batch of different stuff here. So, like I said before, there was a lot of smokers back then, and that means a lot of lighters and a lot of ashtrays. This right here is actually unfinished trench art. When you have the cartridges, you can see normally there's a date stamped and the case stamp, and then like what caliper it is. This is a 37 millimeter. Sometimes they'll have engraving if it's from the Navy or the Army, but you can look that up online. I'll show a little diagram here in the corner. So in front of us we have some more sweetheart stuff right here. This is a U.S. Air Force crewmate badge that was made into a bracelet, and this is sterling silver. The chain is not, but very cool. And this right here is a little necklace. I put this little piece of fabric on there, but it has a mercury dime cut out on a piece of lucite plastic. So there was a lot of hobo nickels, as they call it, where they engrave like a nickel to make it look like a hobo or make it look like a character. There's people who still do this with even like Morgan silver dollars. They make it where it looks like a skull. Pretty cool. But I prefer to keep it original, unless it was from that time when it was engraved. Here's an ashtray, Benghazi, 1945. It's pretty neat, but you can see I wrote down what the round is. It's an Italian 75 millimeter round from 1930. See, it has the year mark right here. But over here is another lighter. Actually, it's missing the bullet itself, but it's made with coins right here and over here, and it's a 20 millimeter round from 1942. This over here is a mug made from a Japanese cartridge. They made shot glasses, beer steins, and like there's some military rituals where like you drink from a stein made from a bullet casing that they had. There's a lot of letter openers you'll see with trench art. That's a big thing. This is just a bullet with some copper to make it look like a really interesting letter opener. This right here was Silco stainless little knife, like I'm guessing like a kitchen knife, that they ground it down to make into a letter opener. And they added red, white, and blue, for the American flag, and bullet brass here. This right here is a piece of trench art with an aluminum handle. Sometimes they say like the aluminum on these trench art knives are made from crashed military planes. Don't believe that unless it has any evidence behind it. Always be skeptical of sellers, because they will say anything to try to sell you on anything. As you can see here, it has a lot of brass and leather rings here. Spacers is what they call them. And this has machining done to it, or jeweling. And it's where they take an abrasive rod with a router and they just kind of spin it all around it to make it look flashier. But I actually have a matching set of these. And then right over here is really old knife, very crude, but with the brass here on the hilt and on the back. You'll see like skull crusher knife butts, where it's like a spike, and then they would use that in close combat to hit them in the skull. You'll also see knives with a D grip with spikes on it for like a knuckle knife, but those can be extremely expensive, so I do not have any of those to show to you. This right here is an aluminum lighter, probably made as a tourist kind of attraction for those who were in the service, made by probably locals. This right here is a bullet case with like dancing Germans on it, or French. I need to look that up actually. It's a 1908 case. I'm thinking German, but I should have researched it before this video, but I just wanted to show it because it's pretty interesting. You'll see the bullet casings made into flower vases, into tobacco cans, like tobacco jars. You'll see it how they like crimp it at the base. You also see them made into lamps. And yeah, there's just so much to look out there for. And one place that I always recommend checking is toolkits, because oftentimes these were made in like someone's garage, or someone's in machine shop class. And in a toolkit, my dad's toolkit, I actually found a World War II bolt cutter, and it surprised me, as I would not expect that from there. Because I have an uncle who served in the Korean War, but he wasn't in World War II. But they reused a lot of stuff during the war, like old equipment, because if they're short on something, they'll send them out. And some soldiers prefer to use some of the older equipment too, because say it's something their dad used, or their friend gave to them. And yeah, I always recommend watching more than just one video before you go out there shopping, and just familiarize yourself with the insignia, and I'm sure you'll get a really cool starting out collection. And before you leave, this is kind of a phallic shaped round, but it is very heavy, set on a piece of chrome, and it's not a lighter, but it looks really cool on an office desk, to say the least. But you guys have a great night, or morning, or you need to get to bed, and take care. Bye-bye.